It's wonderful to be back in India. Every time I visit, I'm struck by the pace of change, and today is no different.
State, and it has a lot of talent, but it has not been able to tap into the deep tech ecosystem that is building up in India.
India has produced the CEOs of Google, Microsoft, IBM, and Adobe. We are running some of the most powerful companies on the planet. And yet, we have not built a single one of them. Not one. The iPhone, American. WeChat, Chinese. Spotify, Swedish. The electric car revolution, American. Artificial intelligence being led by America and China. And India? India is where you call when something needs to be managed, when software needs to be maintained, when a process needs to be optimized. We are extraordinary at executing other people's ideas, but we have never quite learned how to trust our own. And in this video, I will be telling you exactly why. Because the answer has nothing to do with intelligence. It has everything to do with what happened to you in a classroom and in your family when you were about 5 years old. Let us start with what the numbers actually say, because the numbers are genuinely remarkable. India ranked 39th on the Global Innovation Index in 2024, up from 81st in 2015. We climbed 42 positions in less than a decade. We are the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, with over 1.57 lakh recognized startups. We have 122 unicorns. Our economy is now the fourth largest in the world, having overtaken Japan in 2025. By every traditional measure, we are rising fast. And yet, not one globally dominant consumer technology company built in India. Not one Indian hardware brand recognized worldwide. Not one Indian platform used by the world the way the world uses Google or Instagram or WhatsApp. The gap between those two things, between our economic rise and our absence from the top of the global innovation table, is what we should be very worried about. Let's discuss the possible reasons. Think about your school. Think about what happened when a student asked the teacher a question that challenged what was in the textbook. Not a rude question, not a disrespectful one. Just, sir, why does it work this way? What if it worked differently? What happened? In most Indian classrooms, that child was either ignored, mildly embarrassed, or told to focus on what was going to come in the exam. Because for decades, the Indian education system has been built around not understanding, but reproduction. Not curiosity, but compliance. The entire system is built around one skill, the ability to recall from memory and reproduce on paper. And here is what is striking about that. Students were scoring perfect 500 out of 500 in board exams, which sounds impressive until you realize that a perfect score in a system built on rote learning does not mean that a child knows everything. It means that a child has learned to perfectly reproduce everything. That is not knowledge. That is a very sophisticated form of copying. Now combine that with what happens at home in most families in our country. In most Indian households, and I say this with genuine love for my culture, questioning an elder is not curiosity. It is disrespect. You do not ask your parents why a tradition exists. You simply follow it. You do not ask your teacher whether something is true. You simply write it down. From the age of around 5, the message is consistent in our country. The answer already exists, and your job is to find it and repeat it, not to create a new one. And that is where I think the rot begins. But here is where it gets more interesting and more uncomfortable. Because this conditioning does not just affect how we perform in school, it shapes how we live as adults, and specifically what we are willing to tolerate on a day-to-day basis. Think about the roads in your city. Think about the power cuts, the lack of footpaths, the pothole that has been there for 3 years, the government office where you have to bribe someone to get your own document processed. In Germany, a pothole that exists for more than a few weeks becomes a national news story. In France, if the government does something that the citizens disagree with, they shut down the country. In India, we say, chalta hai. It will do. It is fine. What can you do? And I want to ask, where does that come from? How does a country of 1.4 billion people, clearly intelligent enough to run some of the most complex companies in the world, look at a broken system and just shrug? I think it comes from the same place as the family and the classroom. When you have been told your entire life that there's an answer that already exists, but your job is just to find it, not to question it, not improve it, just find it, you eventually stop looking for better answers. Chalta hai is what happens when an entire country internalizes that lesson. It is not that we do not see the broken system. It is that we were never taught to believe that seeing it obligates us to fix it. Now, here's the part where I'm going to say something that might genuinely annoy some people. I want to be clear. I say this not to diminish anyone's achievement. Every person I'm about to mention has worked extraordinarily hard to get where they are. But I want to ask the question. Sundar Pichai runs Google. Satya Nadella runs Microsoft. Arvind Krishna runs IBM. Shantanu Narayan runs Adobe. Indians are at the helm of companies that between them are worth trillions of dollars. We share these names on WhatsApp like they are proof of something, of our capability, our intelligence, our arrival. But what if they are also proof of something else? Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world, studied leadership patterns across thousands of American executives, managers, and organizations. It found something surprising. Indians were actually more likely than white Americans to reach the top of corporate hierarchies. Unlike Chinese or Japanese executives who face what researchers call the bamboo ceiling, Indians break through. But the research also asked why. And the answer is the uncomfortable part. Indians are specifically valued, and this is documented, for their ability to navigate complex organizations without creating turbulence, for their humility and their adaptability, their capacity to manage conflict without escalating it. In one case study from the research, a senior Indian executive was told early in his career that colleagues found him easily manipulated because his careful, non-confrontational style was mistaken for a lack of conviction. Now ask yourself something honestly. Is it possible that one of the reasons Indians keep getting picked to run these companies is precisely because we were trained from childhood to work brilliantly within systems without threatening the people who built them? That we are, in a very specific sense, the perfect choice for a board of directors that wants excellent management but has no intention of giving up actual power. So let us step back, because something important just became visible. We have talked about 3 things: a school and family upbringing system that teaches compliance over curiosity, a cultural conditioning that produces chalta hai tolerance for broken systems, and a corporate pattern where Indian brilliance is rewarded, right up until the point where it might actually challenge power. These are not 3 separate problems. They are 3 symptoms of the same disease. We were taught from the very beginning to be excellent within someone else's structure, to find the answer but not ask the question, to manage what exists but not build what does not. Satya Nadella did not save Microsoft by being obedient. He saved it by having the courage to say, this company needs to completely change what it believes about itself. That took a kind of inner disruption that our schooling actively tries to train us out of. The question is not whether Indians are capable of that kind of thinking. We obviously are. The question is whether the next generation of Indians will be allowed to develop it. Whether a parent will let their children ask the uncomfortable question without being embarrassed. Whether a teacher will reward the student who challenges the textbook instead of punishing them. Whether we, as a country, will stop seeing chalta hai as pragmatism and start seeing it for what it actually is, a quiet surrender. Because the difference between managing power and building it is not intelligence. It is permission. And right now, we are a country that is extraordinarily good at waiting to be given permission, instead of deciding that we do not need to ask. I want to know what you think, and I want you to be honest. Did your school reward you for asking difficult questions, or just for getting the right answer? And do you think that shaped the kind of adult you became? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If this video made you think, share it with one person who you think needs to hear it. Because this is a conversation that our country desperately needs to have.